Good afternoon, everyone. This record historic, dangerous cold. I've pinpointed the areas where I think the power is going to cut first. Blackouts will occur in these areas first. Let's look at it. And here we go, 2025. You're going to flick the tiger? Are some of these things planned is the question. Ryan Maue, great resource to follow. A weather model run for the ages right here. So we can look at the past to see possibly in the future. And speaking of futures, natural gas, 21% up. Traders know what's about to happen. This is going to be historic cold. And for those of you who didn't know what happened in the Texas power outage, normal price is what you pay right now for your electric bill. They were purchasing on emergency inflows on a megawatt between $9,000 and $11,000. And then at the end of the cold, people were receiving $1,000 electric bills. And they're like, whoa, it's usually $200. Emergency power is going to cost you. Understand that. Your power bills are going to be absurd at the end of this thing. Also, weather forecasters looking at this being some of the most absurd and lowest cold temperatures ever observed at the North Pole. That is literally off the chart Kelvin going down to that circulating white in the center there. Once we get to 0 Kelvin, that's absolute zero. The lower you go on this chart, the colder it is. Unprecedented cold at the poles as well. And if you look at pressure differences on the gradient here, you just normally don't see this. On the top right of the chart, you're going to see what your baseline is there at 5,200, let's say. But the swing between 56 and 47, again, pressure differences like this and this close of proximity, unheard of. And finally, NOAA probably got somebody in the office after the holidays and they go, whoa, look at this below normal temperatures, because now it's starting to make the mainstream media. They're only 4 days late. Welcome. AccuWeather also just starting to put it out. We are going to get sub-zero temperatures. They put their model out through the 12th, but as we get into the 13th and 14th, that is going to extend down into central Georgia and central Alabama. More of the easy-to-read graphics for you here. New Year pattern. That is going to spill from the North Pole Arctic Circle all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico and beyond. So the area in question here is this vast of the United States on record power draw. That's the whole point of the video. Yeah, you can look at the charts, and I encourage you. I'll give you some names at the end to follow. But the power is the Achilles heel. That's a huge swath. And it says it extends down to Mexico through the Gulf of Mexico. So I'm going to rewind the clock here. This is 2021 when ERCOT lost power, grid down, and that made national news. And I encourage you to look to see of the story what had happened. You can see the area approximately and the below normal Fahrenheit temperatures of 20 below, and that was enough to take down this grid area. So the top left is 2021, and the bottom right is what we're about to experience. It is about 6 to 8 degrees cooler than it was in 2021. The only Wi-Fi network that I see is this campground, and it's unsecured, open to the public network, and we put our passwords in there. Everybody's going to see that. I don't think that's safe. And one thing that could keep you more protected, a really good VPN, which is why I am thankful to have Surfshark today as a sponsor of the video, because Surfshark is an app and a browser extension that encrypts my data. It lets me change my IP address to virtually any place on the planet and unblock websites, YouTube, different content streaming that we wouldn't have access to because of geofencing restrictions, and also location data that gives you different prices while you surf for rental cars, airlines, and hotels. And if you go to surfshark.com/adapt, get an extra 4 months of Surfshark at an unbeatable price. And if you're not sure it's a good fit for you, no worries. They offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, no questions asked, no risk. Try it out. I'll leave that link in the description box below. That's surfshark.com/adapt. Let's get protected. And I got this latest model, and I absolutely pray this is wrong. If this model remains correct, we're looking at once in a 500 to once in a 1,000 year cold event here. I really hope it's wrong. I've been trying to back check, double check, recheck, but none of the forecast models that you get on your phone, like, 10 days in advance, are showing the cold at this temperature yet. This is where the difference comes in. So these are 2 meter or ground temperature. You standing on the ground, Fahrenheit, in areas in Tennessee, I'm baffled. Is this truly correct, or is there a mistake in the models? Because the power draw here, utilities in 14 states started a roll and blackout in 2021 with the ERCOT, Texas power down. This is wider, it's going to encompass more states, and it's going to be cooler. So at 14 states started to do rolling brownouts and blackouts. This is going to be far more states at this point. So I started to do some research on this. Utility Dive has a whole rundown. I linked everything in the description box below. I pulled a 2018 article here after the previous disruptions prior to Texas. They did an analysis and they found higher than expected power demand brought on by cold weathers was the disruptor for every single event in mid-continent or intercontinental, for a better term. MESO is what we're going to look at on the maps here. And also, the risk of supply shortfall in winter has increased. Okay, they've tried to do some things since 2021 to alleviate this around Texas, but I don't know what MESO has done, and that's the red there, the mid-intercontinental risk areas, high risk. Shortfalls may occur at normal peak conditions. Well, I am telling you right now, we are going into something in the multi-century condition for cold. Your greatest snap out first is going to be the Gulf Coast MESO area right there in red. It's already marked in red. All right, so if the trip starts here, then we're going to have to wind back to Texas and see if they can provide power. But then the thing that really sent it over the edge was the wind drought at that time, that other power providers, their windmills shut down. It's just too cold. The air was too still. We're going to see the exact same thing again. So they had, at that time in 2021, 39 hours of no power generated from wind. And we fast forward, we can take a look at Storm Uri, that 12-day period, which the power had gone down in Texas and tripped the rest of everything into rolling blackouts. There's that substantial period of time where there's no power available. So I'm going to bring you here my own analysis. Please share this with anybody you can. We're coming into another what they call wind drought in these areas with the green. And I drew the arrow to where the substantial amount of wind production power is in these areas. That will go, in my opinion, if these models do not change, close to zero. And that will be a shortfall of a tremendous amount of power that will be drawn and needed. So dumping back into the previous ERCOT outage, the bars that you're seeing on the right side are how much shortfall there was per the generation capacity. Natural gas, because of the flows in the lines, when it gets that cold, the pressures start to change and it's not as stable, and they need to have somebody there. And Bear Independent talked about in his video, Getting Ready for the Cold, y'all need to prepare for this, that they were sending crews out just to monitor valves and stations to try to keep pressures equalized. They still lost that much power generation, even though people were trying to regulate it. Also, the wind is on the right, that empty box there, that increased during this time. That's more loss. The higher that bar means the more loss there was of capacity. And just that little bit of gradient change from the top to the bottom as it swept through Oklahoma made that much of an exponential change in loss of capacity. And now here we are. Ice on the lines again. Snow. Snow on the solar panel production facilities. And the wind up a little bit further north along the Midwest. Your grid here predominantly will be saturated and overpull on the grid. Max capacity demand through the entire, take that tip down to Texas and draw a straight line up. Everything's going to be record cold across a predominant amount of this transmission area. You tell me how they're going to get the power. And here's another one, solar farm electrical production. Every yellow dot you see is a solar farm producing, 3 megawatts to 20 megawatts, whatever it is, and something in between. Snow forecast on the right. This will cover every single solar panel facility in different depths of snow, up to 6 to 18 inches. Some areas just luckily 2 to 3 inches. And one last thing, caveat here, after Hurricane Helene, this area of disruption has not been fully repaired. So it's not going to be a fully capable grid in that transmission zone from Georgia to South Carolina, Tennessee to South Carolina, and North Carolina. That whole area in there, that transmission swap, is going to be interrupted. They're going to have to do workarounds, go-arounds. So my question is, I don't have the knowledge or expertise about de-icing technologies in the newest solar farms that are out there. Are they able to de-ice and defrost and get that snow off the panels in real time by a mechanized system, operations, or is it going to require getting teams out there to start banging on the panels and whatever it takes to get that snow off there? If you have any information, please leave it in the description box or the comments below. This is the missing piece here. That's 4% of the generation out of the full southeast United States gone if it's covered in snow, if they don't have that technology. I know some companies been working on it, but I don't know if it's been deployed everywhere. So I'll bring you to this map here. This is an anomaly. So the average temperature of your area, let's say it's 30 degrees Fahrenheit, 0 Celsius. All this pink here is going to be 20 degrees Celsius below that, which is approximately 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Below your average, the anomaly, the difference. And I know people in Colorado and people in New York and people up in Chicago and Green Bay, like, well, it's just winter, dude. Not in the southeast U.S. at 60 degrees or 50 degrees or 40 degrees Fahrenheit below the normal. That is a pipe breaker and a grid down for us. And you're going to get record draw up there too. And when we come at 2-meter ground temperatures again, this is on the ground, like what the temperature is, slightly cooler on the ground, obviously, because cold sinks. We're getting to the blue. We're ranging out of the aquas into the sort of blue channel there. 2-meter temperature, we're bringing it back to Fahrenheit for those of you in U.S. Anywhere to the west, that pink line over there, you're looking at like 0 or sub-zero temperatures, and all along there in East Tennessee, 2 degrees. This is what tripped the TVA last time and put them into rolling blackouts. It's these same exact temperatures, but it's going to be colder for far, far, far longer. This is the whole thing. It's not a one-day in and one-day out event. This is a one-day in, a full week event. You need to get prepared for cold preps and power outages. Going to bring you over here. Let's walk through the models. Now, this will be the 3rd of January. That large circle is moving down into the lower U.S. 48. And this is just the forecast temperatures again on the ground. And we're getting to the minus 20 below zero here. So anywhere that's sub-zero, minus 20. You think they're not going to be pulling record on the grids up there too in the north, even though that's just winter, dude? No, it is extreme cold, dangerous, and historic cold. That's what it is. And by the end of this, I would imagine these are the cars from Valencia that were washed down in Spain. I would imagine heat pumps. We'll have a graveyard of those as well. This will be a pivotal moment for our power grid. And if it does go down into rolling blackouts, how long will it be rolling blackouts is the question, and how much permanent damage will this do? How long is it going to take to get the power back? And are you prepared to go 3 days, 7 days, 14 days, 1 month with no power? We're in the middle of winter. The next Arctic front is coming, 10 days after this one sweeps through. There's another one directly behind it. If it's not repaired then, you're at a negative cascade. So I would encourage you to sit down with others and have these conversations. Reach out to people who are more equipped than you. You're going to have a rally point if everything goes awry and you just can't heat your home anymore. You're going to have to go somewhere else where you can stay warm. The Southeast U.S. is not prepared for this. You might be in the north and making fun of us down here. We're not ready for this. This is going to be a cascading, and this is going to reverberate back to you up there. You want to pull more power from down here? We just don't have it this time. We're going to need to pull from other places north. How do you think you get through your January freezes up there? You take our power. Great, I'm happy to give it. We don't need it. Our winters are rather mild. This time we're coming into a Canadian type winter situation where flamingos are. Put it into perspective for a second. We're not ready. Nobody's ready. You can get as ready as you can, and I'm really sad to see no discussion about this going on in our media. And please join us Thursday night, every Thursday night as a matter of fact, on YouTube, Rumble, and X, the Civilization Cycle podcast. We're going to go super in-depth on this and what we learn until tomorrow evening. Also, we're putting updates on Civilization Cycle over on X for you to follow. And you might want to follow Ryan Maue, Big Joe Bastardi, and Ben Knoll to find the latest weather charts, and also Chris Marntz, WX, M-A-R-N-T-Z, WX, and Ryan Hall, you all. Those are the go-tos right now. I'll see you next time. I'll bring you another update. Bye for now.